What's up? I'm not sure how. Just checking to see how all this is working. The uh, we are we're live on YouTube tonight for crew, and so let's see who all would jump on and join us tonight. Give us a little bit of time to get a people on. Somebody's jumped on, so who's out there? There was one. There's now none. So there we go. See. Just see who's out there. We got a chance to kind of hang out and get lunch delivered to your house this week if you're our lucky winner. And we got a couple that are on there. Ellie Martin, the first one to jump on. Ellie, can you hear me? Who else is on the Coronado? Who else is on? I have no idea if y'all can hear or not. So somebody, there you go. There you go. Ellie's let me know. All right. So we got a couple that are on here. I know, Cornada. Thank you for pointing that out. See, tonight I'm actually moved locations a little bit, and I can read the live uh, statements as they come in. So uh, here's what I'm curious is just to find out a couple of things that are going on in y'all's life and what's going on. Since two of y'all here, we'll start with y'all. Uh, Ellie, I know you got one of the hammocks that came from early signups for camp. Uh, how how much have you used it since you got it yesterday? And then Abby, I mean, this for anybody else. What's something new you've done since we've had crew last week? And so this is just kind of getting a chance to hang out. We're in my garage tonight, coming at you. And so Ellie says used it once, and Annie's used it. So your little sister's taking it over pretty much. So there you go. What's something that y'all have done? Let's see. Um, One of the things that we've done that's been new for us is we've been doing walks, but the kids and I started taking a football on our walks and started throwing the football a little bit more and watching Rhodes try to out throw his sister and brother. That was fun. Social distancing is not a fun thing on a walk as you're dealing with that, but hey, that's what we're supposed to do. So, all right, let's see. Other questions. What's a food that you have to have in your house that you didn't realize before this period of time that you had to have? And so, for us, uh, I've gotten into wheat saltine crackers again, and that's just something I have in the house and want to have. And so that's one of the staples for us. For let's see, for the kids, it's always macaroni and cheese. It seems like that our kids always need macaroni and cheese, so they love mac and cheese or double stuffed Oreos. I don't know about you, but I saw one of our pastors put something the other just today about how they had just the cream filling as something that they had. So uh, that's what we have to have in the house. What about y'all? What do you have to have in the house as a food item? What's a staple you have to have now? And then let's see, what's a series that you found that you binge watched over the last week or so? What's a series that you found that you binge watched over the last week or so? Any series out there? I feel like my kids, the Chronicles of Narnia, they've watched. I know it's more of a movie. They don't really get into TV shows, but at our house, we tend to watch more movies than we do TV shows, and our kids have watched that multiple times. Abby, Gilmore Girls. Okay, that's that's going back a little bit. So Gilmore Girls, we consume a lot of Waterloo and tea. Kind of going a little English on us. What else? What else are y'all binge watching? What have you found that you binge watched over the last week a little bit more than normal? Coffee? You miss coffee, or you binge drink coffee, Abby? Which one is that? What what's a movie or show that you've watched more recently in the last week that you say uh everybody's got to watch? What's a movie? All right, like I said, our kids have watched the Narnia movies a couple different times. Frozen 2. They've watched a good bit. Trying to think of other movies we watched. Watched the Jeremy Camp movie um, that came out, and they moved it. Our kids are looking forward to. I think Onward comes out tomorrow, and so our kids are looking forward to that. So, let's see. What is the average amount of time you're spending on school every day? What's the average amount of time that you're spending not on homework but just on school? I know we've heard rumors of other of schools that are requiring an all day school. Some that are just kind of do whenever, just turn in assignments. Some that have even gone to pass fail. So curious to hear what's the average amount of school that you've done during the day over the last week. I know our kids are on. I mean, Zoom calls every day, 2 to 3, depending on the classes, and so they spend a lot more time on their iPads and on Zoom calls. So I know that's what they're doing. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Couldn't do that one. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. TCA is killing it. TCA is killing it with the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So much homework, not a lot of class time. All right. And okay, so last week we didn't video this or anything, but we got a picture that Morgan sent me today. And so, where would you want lunch delivered from this week? If you won, where would you want lunch delivered from? And think local restaurants. I'm not thinking about chain restaurants. I'm thinking about more local restaurants. We got Taco Joint is one of those in here in the Lake Highlands area that a lot. The Greek restaurant on 75. Someone in Richardson told me they'd love to have. But where's somewhere that a local place that you say, hey, I would love to if I win tonight, because we're going to do this again. If I win tonight, that I would love to have delivered to my house uh, in the next 7 days. Where's somewhere that you want to have lunch delivered from? I think for me, if I'm going to go Chick-fil-A, okay, I think we can go with Chick-fil-A. I think some places that I'm missing. TJ Morgan and I went to Brick House Burgers and Shakes not too long ago. As a staff retreat, I think I'd want to go there again. Bubba's. I mean, Bubba's is only going to be if you're Grant Glover and you're getting the grilled chicken strips with your roll and I think he gets green beans, double green beans, maybe. So I know that's a Grant and Glover go to. All right, so here's what I need. Uh, Put your name on the screen, and as I see your name come up, I'm going to enter you into tonight's opportunity to win. Uh, Tonight's opportunity to win for our meal. And so right now, I know I've got. Right now, I've got Abby, Ellie, Who else wants an opportunity to win? I'm not hating on the grilled chicken. No, there's no hate on the grilled chicken at all, Abby. Who else wants an opportunity to win lunch delivered? I know TJ and Morgan, but y'all are out. Sorry. Anybody else want an opportunity right now? Because we got Ellie and Abby. Got the little waving emoji from TJ. And as you're doing that, just a couple announcements of things that are going on, just to be aware of. We've extended. Uh, we've extended. I got Kirk's on here. We've extended camp signups, the early bird deadline. It had originally ended on March 31st. We've extended that to Easter as of right now. So make sure we are still a go. Everything's still good to go to camp in July the 5th through the 10th. And so get your friends. We've had a number of students sign up over the last little bit, and so want to make sure that you can get signed up. So we can extended that deadline to April the 12th. And then we have Valerie is on as well. So right now I've got four. I've got Abby, Ellie, Kurt pop up on the screen for me. And we're going to do a drawing to see who wins the free lunch delivered to your house. Another thing is connect online. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. we release, or Saturday sometime, we release a new connect. And so I hope that you're able to jump in and be a part of that with your connect groups. If you don't have a connect group that you want to, or that you're a part of, that you want to be a part of one, just drop a comment. Already collecting items and baby food, diapers, feminine products that we can then take over tomorrow to Tasby Middle School and deliver to Jackalow and Tasby. And so we're helping that community out. If you want to be a part of that, you can go onto our Instagram. You can look in the profile link and click on a map that's got houses around you that you can drop items off at. Encourage your parents. This would be a great way for us to still serve our community and be a part of what God's doing, because there are stories that are coming about. Listen to Jess Lambert, who is our missions coordinator there, and she's just killing it. She is doing a great job. And so, if you've got items that you can drop off, just look underneath there. And so, all right. So I've got four students on. I've got four students' names. If you have not put your name up there, this is your last opportunity to put your name up there. But I've got Abby, Ellie, Curtin, Valerie, and so we're going to do that in going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're going to, so that you can see, you may not be able to because of the light. There's a wheel. It's got everybody's name on it. And I'm going to click spin, and it's just going, it's going. It's just around and around and around and around until it stops. And where it's just keeps spinning. Why is it still spinning? All right, come on, stop. It stopped on the black line. So if you can see that, it stopped on the black line. So we're going to spin this again. And Kurt, I don't know if you can see this. Kurt, you have won lunch next week. That is Kurt's name. It doesn't look like it's going to show up there. Kurt, you have won lunch next week. So we will get in touch with you. Kurt Evans has won lunch, and so we will get in touch with you. And TJ calls it the death wheel, and that's not so much what it is tonight. It's an opportunity to win lunch. And so, hey, here's where I wanted to share with this group tonight as we're starting off actually a little bit more of a lesson and what's going on in crew. We are going to be launching starting next week. Your crew leader will be contacting you about getting together with your crew via Zoom. And so this is an opportunity for you to get together, and we're going to do a lesson on Wednesday or Thursday nights. I'll teach a lesson. We're going to pick up and mark where we left off, but just wanted to kind of think through, highlight some different parts of the book of Mark that we've looked at, talked about over the last semester and a half. And so just kind of looking through, we've seen Jesus heal a number of people. We've seen from starting out with a paralytic in chapter 2, We see Jesus healing a woman and Jairus's daughter. We see a demon possessed man is healed by Jesus. We see that he heals a deaf man, and so we've got multiple times throughout the book of Mark we've seen Jesus heal. We've seen the word immediate pop up a lot of times, and so we've seen Jesus healing. We've seen Jesus choose 12 apostles out of all were with him. We see him narrow it down to 12 buddies that are now going to change the world to what we're experiencing with the gospel in our lives today. And so we've seen that in here. We've seen miracles. We've seen healing of a We've seen him walk on water. We've seen him feed 5,000. We've seen him feed 4,000. We've seen a number of miracles that he's done. We've seen him be rejected by those in Nazareth. The sting of rejection. We've seen him be baptized. We've seen him walk through temptation and come out sinless on the other end. We've seen Jesus in the triumphal entry, and we've seen Jesus give us the greatest commandment. And so, as we've gone through this over this semester, I was just thinking and writing down a few of the things, stories that really stick out to me, and that I really love. And I narrowed it down to three. I wrote a list and had a longer list, but I narrowed it down to three. And the three things that stick out to me in this, as we're getting ready to jump back into Mark, we'll be in Mark 13 next week. But as we're getting ready to jump into it, uh, the first one is Jesus' baptism and his temptation, right in the beginning. And it says, in those days, Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and he was baptized by John in the Jordan. And when he came up out of the water, immediately, there's that word immediately, and it pops up twice in these books. He saw the heavens open and the Spirit descending on him like a dove, and then voice from heaven, "You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased." And the Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness. And he was in the wilderness 40 days, being tempted by Satan. And he was with the wild animals, and the angels were ministering to him. We don't get a context of all the temptations that he faced, but what we do know out of this is the baptism and the temptations of Christ point us to the fact. I think TJ taught this 2 weeks ago, or this past weekend, is that it shows us that Christ can and does relate to us. Christ was tempted. Christ didn't fail at any of his temptations. He was given an opportunity to fast forward and have all the world's leaders worship at his feet. He was able to attempted to have bread immediately turned from stone into bread. He was put on top of a pinnacle of the temple and said, "Throw yourself off and show everybody your God, because God will send angels to stop and won't let you be hurt." Jesus had these opportunities. He was had opportunities to put himself ahead of what was going on in God's will for him to please himself. He was given opportunities to remove the cross and the hurt and the pain, all temporary. Just remember that. Remember that anything that Satan tempts you with is always temporary. It's not going to be something that will satisfy. It will always leave us hungry. But Christ will satisfy us, and we see that he was tempted. The baptism of Jesus is really awesome because it just shows us to follow in his ways. I came to know Christ as a freshman in college, and it took me several months. It took me about 4 months before I was baptized, and I was learning. Actually, it took me a year and 4 months. I'm sorry, I was learning and trying to figure out what it meant and why would I do this. And over that time, uh, it was pointed out to me that Christ was baptized, and to follow after Christ and to do as Christ did. And this was one of the first things he does is he comes to John and he's baptized, and he says, "Do it. It is what's right to fulfill Scripture." And he does it as an example for us. And so we got friends that may not have been baptized. And I want to encourage you, talk to them, encourage them to be baptized. I wrote to our leaders this past week. I would love that this Sunday we're going to be talking about Christ's baptism as well. But I would love the fact that we stand and have to devote a sermon series or a sermon time to the baptism of students during this time. 40 days fasting. I'm not saying that we're going into 40 days of being apart, but what I'm saying is that what would be cool is if we come out of this time. Jesus was 40 days tempted. What if we were coming away from this time of being together and we could point to all the greatness that God does, to see our neighbors who may or may not go to church, our friends that may not be plugged into church, to see them walk differently and to see us walk differently because we were following obediently. And then to see them come to know Christ and to see them baptized. How cool would that be for our church and for our community, and to praise God from the celebrations of things that are going on? And so that's one of my favorite stories. If you turn over into chapter 5, verse 21, it starts to talk about the Jairus's daughter is healed, and a woman. Both of these are amazing stories to me, because we have an opportunity to see how God works in powerful ways. And that this woman who is pushing her way and she'd been suffering for 12 years, it says, that she gets, and she just thinks, if I just touch the garments, I'll be made well. Her faith is powerful. And she gets to a point, she touches him and she's healed. But he perceived that power had gone out of himself, and he didn't turn around and lash out to her. He was compassionate. He was loving to her. And then he goes in to heal Jairus' daughter. That story for me is one about compassion and faith, and how I want and I desire to be full of faith, to believe that God can do anything, even healing from afar, or healing by touching, or healing by going to the house of Jairus' daughter. What are you believing God to do during this time? And is it something crazy radical that we don't see every day? Or is it just, what's the norm going to be for me now? I'm hoping that we come out of this not ever doing ministry the same way. I hope that we come out of this uh, reevaluating priorities on things. I hope we come out of this personally. My time with the Lord has been more sweet in the more recent days than it's been in a long time. And so my hope is that we get an opportunity to see God move in a powerful way through this time. And so that's a story. And then what I talked about last week is out of chapter 4, verse 35. It's where Jesus calms the storm. It's one of my favorite stories because Jesus is asleep in a boat. One of my a pastor that I listen to and I love, who's ministered to me in seasons of life for the last 14 years, says it this way: a different place and a different pace gives us a different perspective. And Jesus is out on the boat asleep, and he's changing location. So he's changing his place. He's changing a pace because he's taking a nap. When was the last time you and I took a nap, and it be something good for us that the Lord is pleased in us in doing? And so he's a different a pace, and yet he is not shuddered or scared or anything. The people around him are, but he stands up and he calms the storm. I don't know what the storm is in your life this week. Um, there are plenty in mine. I was talking with my mentor this week, and I said God's really shaken me in a couple areas this week, and it's been really cool and really exciting to see. But at the same time, it's scary. But Jesus stood up and calmed the storm, and He wants to calm that in your life and my life as well. And when He does, He shows that He's not afraid of the storm. That He didn't belittle these guys and tell them how stupid they were, and you're our fishermen, and rouse them and give them a hard time. He just stood up and he calmed the storm. And what is it in your life that you're needing him to do that? And so in my life, there were some emotions that were going on this week that were really rocking my world. And I just came to Jesus and said, I need you to be the Lord of my emotions today. And I need you to take these over. And that's every day in my life. And so it's been really cool to see how these verses and these stories in Mark have been encouragement for me. One last thing before we jump off tonight. Just remember that crew leaders should be reaching out to you this week to uh, connect with you for crew. Uh, I know we've got our multiple different houses that I met, but I'd love to see us meet. I don't know how Connect has been for you. I hope that it was good this past week and that you have an opportunity to connect again with your Connect group on Sunday. Know that we've got two service times on this Sunday, 9:15 and 10:45 on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at the PC, I think it's Park City's YouTube channel. And even David Huey jumps on here and gives a little bit of a dab. So just to remind you that we've got those two times on Sunday morning and then Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. Pastor does a midweek. And Morgan was on last night, did a phenomenal job, did a great job. Really, really proud of Morgan and the ministry she does for our ministry. So remember Camp, Connect, and the ways that you can get involved with the Vickery donations. Again, go to our profile on Instagram, click our profile link, and you will see a Google map that you can find locations that are near you. Hey, I miss y'all. Wish we could be together. And we are, I love that our pastor said each day we wake up is one day closer to being together in an email today. And that's exciting to think about that we'll be together soon. Know that our staff loves and prays for y'all daily. And Kirk, be looking for Morgan or myself to reach out to you or one of our interns, and we will figure out where you want to get food from and deliver food this week to you. Hey, if there's any way we can pray for you, text or send us a direct message on Instagram. We'd love to do that. Y'all have a great night.